Hey, it's Derek. This is Stop Skeletons and Fighting, and this is a horror story. My life on YouTube. A bit of a horror story right now. This is gonna be kind of a channel update. I don't really talk much about behind the scenes a whole lot. And you know what? I feel like maybe I've got enough to talk about, especially the last year. This last 12 months has been incredibly difficult for me and producer Grace, for the channel. It's been a very trying 12 months. Earlier this month, I watched a video about demonetizing on YouTube called YouTube's Biggest Lie, and it really hammered home a very common problem with YouTube is that they just don't communicate with content creators. YouTube doesn't have a YouTube channel, right?
No, they kind of do.
Yeah.
Called YouTube creators.
Yeah, but they have a blog on Google that they post most of the stuff on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really talk about this stuff that often, but I think this story will be very interesting to some of our subscribers, but really interesting to some of our fellow YouTubers. Because of how YouTube is run, us content creators, us YouTubers, us influencers, we really only have each other because there's no one really, it feels like, communicating correctly with us. So it might be kind of weird to hear me talk about it, but this is, for the longtime fans, people that have a right to know that you hit subscribe and you want to know what's going on, and people that have been watching the channel for a long time, and our friends who have maybe had similar situations or could have situations thrust upon them. So here we go. So let's take it back to the end of 2018, to about 12 months ago now. The end of 2018, December, was actually the biggest month in the history of the channels, and really all of 2018 was a very big year, and it ended on a very high note. Views, engagements, revenue, CPMs, subscribers, like all of it, like last year was it was fantastic. We did the transfer pack video, the How the West Was Worse Konami video. Y'all watched it, y'all liked it, and we appreciate that. And at the same time, we were thinking about leaving our MCN, our multi-channel network. A multi-channel network is basically like a bunch of different channels kind of under one umbrella, one AdSense account, so that you're kind of all together, so that you're kind of managed by an intermediary, but they help you get perks like legal team, or they help you get better CPMs, and they codes, review codes, and indicons and stuff like that. Basically, like through 2018, we looked at the numbers and went like, I don't think we really need this MCN anymore. So we decided that we want to go on our own and not renew our contract. And maybe we were just getting high on our own supply. It'd been a long couple of years to get to that point at the end of 2018. So it just didn't really work for us anymore. So we decided we didn't want to renew our contract, and we let them know that, like, hey, in January, at the end of January, as per our contract, we are going to leave the network. And so after a very heavy and very hard December, we decided, hey, we're gonna do a fun little joke video. So due to a miscommunication, our MCN dropped us from the network about two and a half weeks earlier than we had expected. Basically what happened was we were looking at the numbers, and January is always a slow month. Everyone's going big for Black Friday and the holiday season. And then January, of course, everyone kind of pulls back. And then revenue always drops in January. But we had noticed that the numbers kind of went down more than we had expected. And not only just the revenue, just kind of like our views and everything. Just the whole channel just seemed to one day just slow down. And this is really where it became a horror story. We asked our MCN, hey, are we still on for leaving in a couple of weeks? And they were like, oh, a couple of weeks? Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you wanted to do it I already did it. 4 or 5 days ago. I did it last week. And we're just like, oh, that explains why suddenly we saw a huge dip. And then we realized that we signed with the MCN in 2016. I think what happened was YouTube just looked at that 2016 to 2019 in that period and went oh, you haven't had any videos or any engagement for 3 years. So it just reset us back to 2016 numbers, and basically the channel just went in the toilet. And what was worse is we were trying to take a bit of a break in January, so we made this joke video, top 10 worst NES names. It was really not meant to be a big full video. It's just meant to be some dumb quick thing we shout out. It was just gonna be fun. It was a fun change of pace, and suddenly that video had to be a major tentpole video. Which never was really intended to be. Also, while this is happening, producer Grace is dealing with a family passing, was out of town at a funeral, and I was exhausted and tired, and it was really a bad time for the channel to suddenly just go in the toilet. So all of a sudden, our like dumb, crappy, low effort joke video needed to do crazy well for the algorithm to like us again. And of course it didn't. You know, not a lot of people liked the video, and we're like, that's fine. It was just meant to be a dumb, fun thing. The people that didn't like it, that's not what I was upset about, and that's not what I'm upset about now. We kind of anticipated that some people wouldn't be down for it, but what we didn't expect is like, this is not gonna pull big numbers. It was never meant to pull big numbers, and basically it was like the algorithm was like, okay, well, what do you got? And we're just like, we have a joke pie in the face of a video. And nothing else. We started January off kind of bad, and then we made that video, and it didn't help at all. How about this, man? So, we put the transfer pack video out in very late December. The video does really, really well. Those 2 days, December 29th and 30th, were the two, number one and number two, best days in the history of the channel. And then because of all this miscommunication with leaving our MCN, we went from the two best days in the history of the channel, and less than 10 days later, it was all gone. Thankfully, we had some success with those first few months, or those previous few months, so we had some money. So we were able to get by. Maybe January and February we're gonna be mulligans, and we'll get back where we are in March. And we try to be really, really careful with our money, because this is something that I've been doing full time for a while. But actually, Grace and I have only been doing this full time for at this point a year. At that point, we'd only been doing it for about like 3 or 4 or 5 months or something like that. We have the Patreon. 25% of everything that we make, we put into savings for taxes. We have no car. We live in a small apartment. We eat out like once or twice a month. Grace is thankfully a very good cook. We try to live, beneath our means. And so we saw it as a challenge. It was depressing. It was hard, but it takes a lot more than that to take me out. So we had to move forward, but we still had to make changes. People might have noticed that we stopped cursing on the channel and started like bleeping out curses. That is because we were hearing things like, if you curse a lot, you'll get demonetized. We couldn't risk it. In the Capcom How the West Was Worse video, we had to censor a lot of the graphic stuff in Resident Evil 2. We did this kind of as a joke, and same with like the censorship swears. We're kind of making the swears and the stuff like a joke, but really we just can't risk it. We were just hearing about people making Resident Evil 2 videos getting demonetized. We had the Mortal Kombat ports video. We wanted to make that way earlier in the year, but we didn't, because we just kept on hearing that all Mortal Kombat 11 footage is getting demonetized. Like, it's just across the board, and we couldn't risk it. And when you only have what you hear from other YouTubers, like, who do you believe? You have YouTube, who says nothing, and your YouTubers who are saying, your friends who are your peers are like, yeah, I put up a bunch of Mortal Kombat 11 footage. I, put up a Resident Evil 2 review, and I didn't get any money off it because we showed graphic violence. And so we were just like, all right, well then we can't do any of that because we're still trying to rebuild. I'm really proud of the videos we put out. But by May of this year, I kind of thought we were done. It was getting I thought that we would have been able to rebuild the channel before May, and we hadn't. It'd been 5 months of working as hard as we could, while also on kind of an emotional deficit because of the stress and the pressure. Kind of really by May, it was like, I think this is over. When your life is just this tiny apartment and a couple of computer screens, it adds up. And at the end of the day, like, our ability to make videos comes down to our mental health, which was, lacking in the early half of this year. So the Hail Mary was June. That was June of this year that was it, man. We had to make it work. So we put out 4 videos. We've never done 4 videos in 1 month before, and we did it. One of those videos, we had Aaron Hansen. He was extremely generous. He happened to be in Seattle, and I straight up asked him, like, man, we need a favor. Do you want to do a video together? And he was like, sure. And I'm very generous, very thankful for him putting up with my bullshit, making him play Superman 64, even though he does not like Star Fox 64. But I mean, we did that video because we were trying to save the channel, man. Also, huge shout out to Cinemassacre. They contacted us. I got to be in an Angry Video Game Nerd episode. Blink and you'll miss it, but I'm in there and I'm holding Metal Storm. I don't even know if they realized it was a Happy Video Game Nerd reference, but not only am I in an AVGN episode, I stuck in an HVGN reference. So that helped a lot, actually. Had a nice little bump from that. Also, shout out to Matt. Matt helped us out with the Final Fight video and let us help him out with his Devil May Cry video. And the moment, though, that really things finally turned around, the link cable video. I'm very happy that you all really liked that link cable video. I didn't think people would like a 20-minute follow-up to an 8-minute video, but you did, and you maniacs, I love you. Thank you so much for that. But really, that was kind of the moment where things did start to kind of turn around. It felt like we had finally gotten in good graces with the almighty algorithm. And like, you know, money was kind of good again. I was able to put money in my savings account. I was finally able to have enough money to get debt consolidation for a credit card that I'd had for years that had 24% interest on it. So it really just felt like the nightmare was over. Felt like it was a long 6 goddamn months, but we did it. And then cut to just a couple weeks ago in September with the HD DVD drive for Xbox 360. So let me hit you with some facts. I'll hit you with some facts and figures and numbers, okay? We are a channel that I think a lot of people associate us with like Nintendo stuff, but here's the reality is our Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death video is like far and away the most successful thing we've ever made. We have been long overdue for a follow-up. So we're actually working on a follow-up. We are still working on the Connect video is coming. But while we were working on that, we found a couple of fun little cul-de-sacs, and that's where the Netflix disc video came from. And while we were working on that, we were like, oh man, this is a really interesting story. If this does well, we should do a follow-up to this one. Another little, you know, Red Ring of Death to Connect cul-de-sac for the Xbox 360 HD DVD drive. We figured like that's gonna be like perfect. I'm really, really happy with how that video came out. There are a couple of boneheaded mistakes. And if I could rip open the space-time continuum and change them, I would, but I can't. But I'm still really, really happy with how the video came out. And we expected it to do well. And we put it out, and it did do well for about 4 hours. And then after 4 hours, our channel just went dead for 2.5, 3 hours. Just no, like literally tens of views. And then when things came back on, it just felt like, if just looking at the numbers, it just really didn't feel like that we had resumed. It really felt like we had been dinged for that. It just felt like the momentum had stopped. And we felt like we had done everything right. We felt like it was a topic that was interesting. It was a long video, and that we thought our audience would really enjoy it. And actually they did. But then like YouTube just like, sorry, we rolled the dice and it came out snake eyes, and YouTube just kind of f***ed us. Oh, I can't say f***. We have to bleep that. And also I've heard some that bleeping doesn't even help. I'm still gonna monetize this video if I can. Don't even at me. And even though apparently this is just an outage for our analytics, just the numbers aren't being reported, but they are still happening, it really felt like YouTube was treating the video as though suddenly no one has watched it for 3 hours and it was just kneecapped. And if you follow us, hey, on Twitter at Stop Skeletons, this is kind of all old news for you because we had a bit of a nervous breakdown. It really sucked for morale. I guess I will say that like it did kind of turn out okay, but I just want to, in that moment, on that Tuesday, when we put that video out, we were bummed the hell out. It really sucked. And, you know, when I get depressed, I just kind of lie on the ground and cry. Grace makes graphs. So YouTube grades everything on how long people watch things. Like, the longer people watch it, the more they must like it. And the more people like it, the more that we will send it out to people, to not only subscribers, but also just, you know, recommended and other places on the website. And so this is the HD DVD video in its first 7 days. And that gray area is how we normally do. Now, here's how to interpret this. The amount of views isn't proportional to the amount of minutes watched, which is that red line. Views dip down just after a few hours after posting, which is the circle area. The line is much more janky than normal. I've been doing this for a while. I look at the numbers sometimes, and usually with videos, it's a nice, solid curve. And that is not the case here with this video. Like, the amount of views in general just like goes against everything we think our audience wants. Like long, in-depth videos about weird and unusual video game peripherals. So basically, even though we're getting like insanely good watch times and really good engagement, we're just not getting views. The video is just not performing like it should. And here's the comparison. Here is the Netflix video. Look at that. Smooth line is proportional. And also, hey, here's a recent video that didn't do so great. The Link's Awakening video, still, it's a smooth line, it's proportional. I knew that video wasn't doing so hot like right away. And I don't blame YouTube for this. Hey, sometimes make video and it don't work out. Sometimes Uncle Derek just wants to talk about Zelda. even though people don't come to this channel for Zelda, but I just wanted to talk about Zelda, my favorite Zelda game, and people were like, cool, Derek, let me know when you got weird peripherals. And so we won't be talking about Zelda for a little bit longer. It's fine. You go to a place for Zelda, you come to Stop Skeletons sort of thing, that's fine. But the point I'm trying to make, the numbers on the HD DVD video were just friggin' weird, and it just really bummed us out. We just couldn't handle that. As you can see, usually views and engagement are roughly correlated to each other, and this relationship is usually expressed in like a smooth curve. No matter the length of the video, no matter how successful it was, it usually has a predictable curve. The HD DVD video was very unusual, and you know, one of the appeals, honestly, of this job is like when a video does well or when a video does bad, you want to problem solve. You want to figure out why. You need to know why a video did well, why it didn't. How can you repeat it, and how can you not repeat it, right? So we have a couple of like possibilities. Like we just got unlucky, maybe. Just was a weird fluke, and sometimes it happens. Like YouTube has said that it wouldn't affect our surfacing, which is like, you know, our visibility, how much it's put out in the world. But a lot of other YouTubers were seeing weird things at the time with their analytics. A second possibility is that YouTube is devaluing watch time, and having a longer video actually is no longer something that's going to help us in the future. Or maybe YouTube just hates us. We're doomed because YouTube, too hot for YouTube. Because they hate us. That must be what it is. It's probably that. They just hate us. No, really. Is it time to move to Pornhub?
I made a porn. Wait, are you serious? Because I actually made a Pornhub account for us.
I know you did, yeah. I mean, how are the CPMs on Pornhub? I don't know.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
All right, I'll make a chart. I'll report back.
The most important time for a video is the first few hours. It determines how well that video is going to do, how long it's going to be pushed out, and also how a video does determines how your next video will do, which is what we saw with the Nintendo names video. And really what it boils down to is, like, views are still the name of the game here. Yeah, we have a lot of subscribers, and views are still the most important thing, because more views means more people watched it, presumably more people liked it, right? And the more people that like it, you get more ads, you get more CPM, you get more stable revenue. And Grace can negotiate for more money and opportunities from sponsors, which the sponsor content, that's still an enormous pillar of our business plan. And also, I want to acknowledge that this sounds very whiny, but this is the horror story, and this is an honest view into how we operate. The HD DVD video actually ended up doing fine. It's sitting at over 100,000 views right now, and I kind of feel like, in spite of everything, like in spite of the algorithm like trying to bury that video, it didn't get buried. It still did well, and I still think the video probably should have done better, but like at least it did well. At this point now, having some distance from all this, it's sort of like, yeah, they tried to shut us down and they f***ing couldn't. When people talk about YouTube like not communicating and being unstable, like this is what they're talking about. We actually had a meeting with a YouTube rep, the first time I've ever had a YouTube rep, right around the time this was happening. So that was actually kind of convenient. So it's a fun part of the story there. And we asked them like, yo, what's going on here? And they didn't really have an explanation. And I was like, well, what should we do if this happens again? And their serious advice for us was, you should have a bigger Twitter following. Like, it's not enough to have subscribers and people that ring the bell. If you actually want people to know about new videos, you should have more social media presence. So, hey, if you really like our videos, also follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Apparently that's just as good as being a subscriber. Oh, and also follow us on twitch.tv/StopSkeletonsAndFighting. Matt McMuscles is going to be here in Seattle, and he's going to be doing some streaming with me. So check out Matt and me, twitch.tv/StopSkeletonsAndFighting, 6 p.m. PT, playing punching weight games. So check that out. Yeah, we're on Twitch. Maybe we should have a YouTube streaming channel, right? No. I don't trust YouTube enough to put all my eggs in this basket. Like, we have to diversify. It's been really stressful. It's been a really stressful year with the almighty and unknowable giveth and taketh away algorithm. And this might be why we took this weirdness with the HD DVD so to heart. I mean, it's fair if you're saying like, why you had one video do kind of wonky for a couple hours, dude. Get over it. I hear you. I wish I could have. It'd have been such a such a year for us. We thought this was going to be a huge hit. We're starting, you know, this is our big time of the year. October, November, December is when we make a lot of revenue, and we thought this was going to be the start of that time. And we need to have another big couple of months like that so that we could handle another January. And we thought this was going to be the start of that, and it wasn't, and it just killed morale. It just killed morale. And right, I wish I could say it didn't, but it did. And it really boils down to, like, thank God we have our Patreon supporters. Like, and thank God other channels have Patreon supporters. Yes, we have them too, but like the Patreon, you know, it's sort of like our last line of defense against YouTube, because it is something, it's another nest egg basket away from YouTube, and the more you can diversify off of YouTube, just the safer, more secure I feel. We actually talked about this with our Patreon supporters, and they seemed actually kind of surprised by it, and so I thought we should probably talk about this to our you know, whole audience here on YouTube. I've been doing this forever, man, and 12 years now, and like, I guess coming up in those early times, man, like talking about this type of stuff, I guess was kind of seen as poor form, so that's why I don't talk about it much, which is kind of stupid, I think. There are people that support this channel on Patreon or not, just people that support the channel and watch it, and maybe you weren't so crazy about the Nintendo names video, and you deserve an explanation why we made that video. So maybe we shouldn't be keeping this to ourselves. We should be being more open to you, because you deserve to know what's really going on. So in the background while all this is happening, like, we've had a weird year, and then now we have this weird issue with this video. Things aren't going to stop being weird. In January, YouTube announced that they are going to tweak the algorithm in order to comply with a US Federal Trade Commission regulations. Like, they are basically going to make it harder for people to make money off of children's content, which there's a lot actually going on here. First off, about damn time. I don't know if it's really that well known to a lot of people. Kind of a dark secret of YouTube is that, like, the most ad revenue is usually made on children's content, specifically because, like, children don't know they're being advertised to, and so you can kind of like take advantage of them, which is awful. However, there's a great little line here in the press release. I'm going to read it to you. In order to identify content made for kids, creators will be required to tell us when their content falls into this category. We'll also use machine learning to find videos that clearly target young audiences. For example, those that have an emphasis on kids characters, themes, toys, and games. Kids games or just games? Like, what? YouTube, what do you mean? Because YouTube never talks about what they're doing. They love to just like, surprise, good morning, huge changes happened, good luck with that. They don't talk about stuff ahead of time that often. So it's like extra freaky that they're like, hey, even we want to give you guys some heads up so that you know that we might have some problems, right? My first thought was like, is this going to affect our channel, right? I mean, our demo is actually, hey, our demo is totally not kids. Our demo is, you know, we'll say very distinguished, you know, line of people between the 25 and 35, you know, age range. I'm 35. I'm distinguished as well. I'm not a child. Debatably. Yeah, no. You know, they were like, what's that kid playing Tetris over there? And I was like, whatever, mom. You don't even know. You'd think that I'd be safe. You'd think this channel and all of us would be safe, but like, when has YouTube ever like done something with surgical precision? It's always a sledgehammer when they make a change. It's always broad strokes, and there's always like, there's never a lot of nuance with YouTube. I'm sure it's a difficult task because of just how ginormous YouTube is, but it does feel like they just don't sweat the small stuff. This could potentially affect a lot of channels, not just ours. What's gonna be classified as kids? Is like all Nintendo content gonna be classified kids stuff? Is Nintendo history gonna be classified as kids stuff? The retro gaming side of YouTube could possibly be really affected. We don't know. Though I think this could affect Fortnite. This might actually bump Fortnite down a couple pegs.
I mean, it's got a stranglehold on YouTube gaming.
It does, yeah.
It's ironclad.
It's not, yes, it would have to take something like this to probably bring Fortnite down. But I would prefer just general disinterest in Fortnite would bring Fortnite down. But whatever, I don't actually care about Fortnite.
You're a distinguished man.
I'm a distinguished man.
You have played a lot.
You know what, like 10 years ago, kids were like, oh, everyone's playing Minecraft. Like, leave the Minecraft, leave the Fortnite kids alone. And this might actually have huge implications for Fortnite. I don't know. Even if that doesn't happen, Will advertisers, because they won't be able to directly target kids anymore, which is, again, I'm super for that, but does that mean they're just going to leave? Like, that money revenue is just going to just dry up? So does that mean we're gonna have like another adpocalypse, a third adpocalypse? How many adpocalypses have we had now? It's hard to keep track of. Things are always weird in YouTube. And we're sitting here in October right now, and it looks like things are gonna get weirder in just 2-3 months. It doesn't look like things are gonna be really improving anytime soon. I'm so grateful I get to do this, and I've been saying that for years. I say it all the time, but you know, I've been doing this 12 years now, and 12 years is a long time to do anything, and 12 years is a long time to do something that people have cared about the entire time. Like, I've never been a big channel, but I've never really been a small channel. I've always had people. I got people from day one that still watch, and that's amazing. I mean it every time when I say it, and I'm saying it again. I can't believe I get to do this. It's such a crazy, weird job. But like now, and especially in the upcoming January, you need to like, comment, and subscribe, and share your favorite content with other people, because this is how we're going to teach the algorithm that we want good content to stay. This is not just about us. We've been talking a lot about our stories, but this is so much bigger than that. Like the content that you like. When you do that, you are helping the good part of YouTube. You are helping all of YouTube and the good part of it, right? So don't subscribe to channels like ESPN. Like, when the ESPN's YouTube channel creators, they'll be fine. They're ESPN. You need to be going out there and looking for people, new upcoming people. I don't know how people even get started in YouTube anymore. It looks like it's more daunting and crazy than it's ever been, and you need to support those smaller people. I guess we're kind of like a big channel now.
I'm a big small channel.
I guess so. I'm always gonna be that kid in Anchorage, Alaska, in his bedroom, just making a video about Metal Storm. It's really hard for me to think of myself that way. But I guess we have a couple 100,000 subs, so like, it's weird for I really do want. This is why I struggle with this. This is why I didn't want to do this. I don't do this type of stuff that often, because I don't want to make it about me. I do want this to be about other people, and just, it's weird, dark times, man. I mean, if we have another January 2019 and January 2020, I don't know if we can keep going. To crawl back from that again, I mean, I'll do something different. I will never stop, but it might be time to pack it in. Be 12 years, and if it kind of just, you know, all deflates again in January, we have to spend another 6 months to get back, I think it might be a good time to pack it in and move on to something else. So, I mean, really appreciate our Patreon, because they'll be there even if YouTube won't be. But, and I don't want to end on a sad note. That's bummer. Sounds like I'm kind of begging, but like, I mean, real talk. Like, when we had a really good month in June, like, Grace and I sat down and we planned out the rest of the year. Like, the videos we wanted to have from June all the way to December, and we've mostly stayed on that schedule now. But I think we got some stuff that you're really gonna like. So this is not like, I'm not begging you to watch. I guarantee you, we got stuff coming that you're gonna want to watch, that you're gonna want to click on. So like, it was rough doing this year, but it's gonna take more than that to take me down. We ain't never stopping. Stay tuned. All right, we are not going down without a goddamn fight, and we know what y'all want, and we're gonna work really hard and give it to you, and try not to have too many mistakes in the video. We have a Patreon. Other people have Patreons. We got shirts, and we got Twitter. Other people got Twitters and shirts and stuff like that. So please subscribe. Did I tell you to subscribe? I should have told you to subscribe at the start, actually. Subscribe to our channel, other channels, not ESPN.
Why are we going so hard at ESPN?
I don't know. It just...
There's something about that.
It's so ridiculous to me, because ESPN has like 5 different channels on cable, right?
Ugh.
They're fine. They have a magazine and they have like 5 cable channels. Anyway, we put links below if you want to learn more about the inner workings of YouTube, stuff that, like, you know, people are kind of figuring out on their own, things that YouTube is not really disclosing publicly. And that's gonna be it for now. It's gonna end right here, and I was gonna say thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned and stay powerful.